to be here. You're not allowed to go in and out all the time because it messes up, you know, the noise, the confusion, the video, all that. So if you want to be here, grab a seat. You know, please remain relatively quiet except for raucous cheering. Raucous cheering is absolutely loud if not inspired and desired. Okay.
They have plenty of time to make.
Do I have to sit down?
No, no, but please be aware that I have 3 lines of sight. One from Alex Hoffman's camera in the very center, coming here, and 2 from Jacob Malian's 2 cameras there. So what we don't want you to do is to step into either of those paths. So yes. That's a crawl. But no, we're not going to right there. Cynthia and Leo Max have no rules.
Yeah, we rented that ballroom too.
Cynthia Feldberg and Leo Max have no rules. They can do whatever they want. And evidently, Larry has no rules.
We rented that ballroom too. It's okay. We own the hotel basically.
Okay, any other comments or questions before we start this and make it, shall we say, official?
Do we get to calm down before we go live?
Thank you.
Oh no, we've been live.
We're live.
Oh, we're live already? Come on. We can do better than this.
Okay, so we're filming now, we're live streaming now?
Yeah,
Okay,
for the last
perfect.
8 minutes.
Okay, we are going to call upon Al Hoxma to do the 5-second countdown to the start. Al Hoxma?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lift off. Greetings and welcome to the 2021 Michigan Disc Golf Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Mark Ellis. I will be your host tonight. I am honored to do this job. I am from the 2017 Hall of Fame class, and it is my job tonight to make the Hall of Fame class look good. And that's basically the easiest job in the universe. So tonight, who will we be inducting? We will be inducting Jav Kowalski. We will be inducting Dr. Stephen Peck. Gunar Nollendorfs. David Feldberg. So welcome to 2021. This is, of course, the second year of the pandemic. And here we go. We already have violations. Oh, I understand. No. We understand that this is going to be a frisbee raucous event, and we love it. And
It's a community.
And certainly, if Mr. and Mrs. Stevens want to join us, if they want, they can just take it over and probably vastly improve the process. So here we are. This is the second year of the pandemic, right? The COVID. Last year we did this outdoors. This year we were almost in the parking lot. So you say, but I mean, this, the Hall of Fame is such an honored and revered thing. This should be with the highest of honors, and we would love to make it that way. But here we are in the Michigan room at the Delta by Marriott Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we are at a tournament that was created and designed to host the Hall of Fame, and that was done by Larry LeBond. Of the Michigan Hall of Fame, and probably the TD that has had more humans be in his personal tournaments than anything, at least until the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour was invented, and I suspect that it won't be long before that will change. So, but here we go. Let's talk for a moment about the history of the Michigan Disc Golf Hall of Fame. It was created by the MDGO, Michigan Disc Golf Organization. And the initial brain trust that created it were Keith Ayton, Mark Stevens, and John Minicucci. And they, in combined with MDGO clubs, decided in 2015 that they were going to give a vote for the Hall of Fame seats to all of the individual clubs of the MDGO. And so that happened. In the first year in 2015, we brought in Jim Kenner, owner of Discraft, Javier, and Sue Stevens. Javier, by the way, used to be good at this game. He sells a lot of frisbees, and Sue Stevens has always been good at this game, including winning 3 world titles. So, in 2016, we brought in Al Shack, Jeff Schwass, and Keith Ayton. In 2017, we brought in Al Hoxbo, who's here today. And Mike Braley, who's living in California. And then some unknown lawyer sort of guy. There was a lot of controversy about the vote counting. We're not quite sure how it happened, but some other guy got it.
I already talked about it.
Marcus is here,
Thank you. In 2018, we brought in Terry Calhoun, Gail Vaughn, and Larry Laban. Gail Vaughn had passed away prior to his induction, but nonetheless, we honored him. In 2019, we brought in Liz Carr-Sipian, Aaron Oakley, and Dr. Leonard Johnson. Now, in 2020, that was last year during our first COVID, the system changed. We found out that the clubs mostly stopped voting. The clubs had votes, but they didn't know the folks back from early. You know, I mean, the average competitive disc golfer stays around for 3 to 5 years. They learn they're not going to win the world title, and then, you know, they fade away. And so those people didn't know the old great players, the old great designers of courses, the people that created the MDGO. And so what happened is we had enough people in the Hall of Fame, the process changed, and now the voters are the initial originators. That is Keith Ayton, Mark Stevens, John Minicucci, as well as all the members already in the Hall of Fame. And who did we bring in last year? Gail McCall, co-owner of Discraft, unfortunately deceased, but nonetheless a great player. Rob Russell, Pat Timmons, and Damon Evans. So, and David is still with it. And congratulations on that. Our friend battling cancer is doing a damn good job. So anyway, this year, the big change is we have Larry Laban running the MDGO. Thank you very much, Keith Ayton and Mark Stevens and John Minicucci. We have a new man and a new tournament hooked up to him. That is why he's here, to fix the things that messed up. Larry Laban does not run the MDGO. He does run the Michigan Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Let's get this right here. What do we have now? We have our first inductee of 2021. And by the way, I will mention, this is the first time ever that this has been live streamed. This is the first time we've ever actually been taped. So hopefully we're not moving forward. We'll find out, right? We'll see how this tape works, okay? And taping, by the way, we have Alex Hoffman in the back of the room from the Discraft Underground, and we have Jake Kamali and Gene from Club Kensington, and they are here helping us with the live streaming and the camera and all the good stuff. Okay, so here we go. Javier Kowalski, PDK number 3178. He was born, Javier, no middle name Kowalski, in 1959, making him 61 years of age. Now, he is absolutely alive and kicking and doing well, and he ain't here. You will not see Javier Kowalski. He did send his son David Kowalski. So, Jav has a job running an entire bus system for a school district, and the rules of the school district are you can't take the 2 weeks off just before the end of the year, and that's something he's an administrator, has to enforce against other people, therefore he won't be here. But I'm hoping next year he'll join us and we'll give him the trophy again, because why not, right? Javier! Okay, so everybody that is now live streamed, please wave to Javier Kowalski, because he can't see you, right? Here we go, wave to him. Now you understand that once something is taped, it may remain forever. So, a day from now, a week from now, a year from now, a decade from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, people may watch this and wave to Javier. Oh, okay, how do you like that? Like never-ending gift, right? Yeah, we love you, Jav. And we do, for darn good reason, but we love Jav. Okay, so, according to PTGA, Javier Kowalski is number 3178. He competed in 218 events. He has 30. His pro cash was $36,721. Some people make money in this game. Who would guess, right? He is the 1996 Bob West Memorial Sportsmanship Award winner. Now, the sportsmanship is, you're a cool guy, you're fun to play with, right? Everybody loves you and respects you. And the one thing we can say about Jav is everybody loves and respects Jav. Right?
Mr. Smooth.
He's a joy to play with. He's a joy to be around. The people that know him, love him. People that haven't ever met him, have heard of him, and love him. So, you're allowed to love him. Cost you nothing. And it's a good idea. Jav grew up in Grand Rapids area. Hey, dogs of this. Dogs of this. I suspected that was coming. Good. Hey, Al, dogs of this. Okay. Hey, Sue Stevens, Grand Rapids, right? Yeah, here we go. So, in high school, Jav was an athlete. He played baseball and basketball, and we would never guess this about Jav, but his senior year, he was honorable mention All-State in basketball as a point guard. So evidently he had skills. Hey, how many of us, right, were All-State? Like, okay. So after 2 years at Grand Rapids Community College, Jav got bought out. Back in the day, an 18-year-old kid like Jav could get hired by UPS, major company, and be given a good job, good pay, responsibility, and a chance to advance. So, he blew off college because he didn't need it anymore, and he went to work, and he then actually retired decades later from UPS. So, when was it that we got him in disc golf? It was 1978. And his first course was Brewer Park, which had 4x4 posts. Now, some of you folks have never heard of 4x4 posts. Before basket, you would destroy something. You threw an object. A big piece of wood in the ground. You paint it, right? You got to hit the painted area, and that's how you complete a basket. And so, Brewer Park had 4x4 posts, and so Jav went out there with a 165 whammo, and he was immediately damn good. Natural affinity, and he was immediately hooked. Okay? So that was 1978. By 1981, the addiction increased. You know how this works, all of you frisbee golfers. And then he met his lifelong friend and traveling companion, Kenny Gill. Now Ken Gill and Jav traveled throughout Michigan, throughout the Midwest. And they were well known as the pair from Michigan. And they were about as different as could be. Everybody loved Jav, and he was so nice, and reserved, and quiet, and classy. And Kenny Gill was a firebrand. Okay, let me tell you, Kenny Gill is a firebrand. That's not a good thing. So, Kenny Gill's my friend, of course. Like, you know, we're not talking out of school here. But those two drove around the Midwest, playing frisbee golf, and the people in the Midwest, from Ohio and Indiana and Illinois, they may not know anything about Michigan except Jav Kowalski and Kenny Gill. And those guys would come in, and they often would come in, win first and second place, take the money, take the trophy, leave. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Okay? Because they were awfully, awfully good. Now, it's fair to say that back in those days, there were the great players in Michigan that a lot of the current players have never heard of. Adam Weiss, Joe Egan, Ray Hart, Ken Gill. Who are these guys? These were the dominant players in Michigan, of course, along with Jav. And Michigan started out very strong in disc golf, in large part because, of course, Discraft in Michigan. And if you get a major company willing to put the discs out there, willing to design courses, willing to buy baskets, you know, that was a start that we had, and truthfully, nobody in the Midwest has ever come catching up to us, right? You got too big a lead, you got too big a start. And then the MDGO happened, and now we got all those organizations and tournaments, and what do we have now? We have a stage where you can play a tournament, or several tournaments, every weekend day, all year long. Sometimes you have stacks of choices. Just, you know, the sport is moving, and of course the sport is very fun. So, now what do we know? What do we know about Jav? Especially his game, because he was a fine, fine player. He was known as Mr. Smooth. Mr. Smooth. Jav had power. Jav could throw 400 feet. Old technology stuff. We're not talking the new fancy stuff that goes forever on its own. We're talking stuff that, you know, you needed to be a powerful athlete to move. Jav didn't look any different throwing 100 feet than he did throwing 400 feet. It's just unbelievable. It's all the same thing, but it goes as far as he wants it to. It's like, how is that possible? How can you do the same thing? One shot goes 100 feet, the next shot goes 300 feet, and they both park a basket. Who knows? I have no idea. But that's what Javier Kowalski did. The smoothest player in the history of smooth players. There's a lot of smooth players, but Jav was great. The other thing is that Jav was a great, great putter. He threw this weird 86 softie. How does anyone come with one of those things, right? I mean, it looks like an old spaceship or something, right? But he did, and he was great at it, and so how can you possibly argue with that? So, Javier Kowalski is still playing today. I will say that he has won a slew of things. In 2000, when the World Championships came to Michigan, Jav playing in Pro Master came in second. Darn nice thing to have. He also has a really unique attribute, a really unique thing about him that almost nobody can say. Jav was invited to play on Team Michigan for the Wisconsin team tournament. Hey, Susie, do you remember that? Yeah. So, Jav was invited to play for Team Michigan, and he did play for Team Michigan, and Team Michigan had a number of those, you know, very prestigious, difficult, you know, team tournaments. He was also invited to play for Team Arizona, and Team Arizona won the California team tournament. Oh, you are? I mean, what are there 5 people in the world that can say that they won, you know, both of those? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it's a very darn small club and very nice. So everybody loves Jav. Let me tell you one little story. What amazed me, amongst other things, about Jav was how little it took for him to get ready. People show up for a tournament, get there early, you know, sometimes for hours early, play an entire round of the course, go and do calisthenics, warm up, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Javier Kowalski could show up, park his vehicle, take out a folding chair, have a seat, and wait for the 2-minute warning. How do you do that? I have no idea. I have no idea how we do that. But I saw that and I said, that's not even possible. That's not even possible. Okay, well, it was possible, and Javier Kowalski, actually is going to receive a trophy, and because he couldn't be here, his son David is going to collect the trophy, but Jav sent his acceptance speech. Here we go. Now, I of course don't have the ability to sound like that, nor would you want me to. Here we go. So, from Jav, thank you very much. I want to thank you all so much. I am humbled by the kind words from friends and family, and hopefully some of my kind words. So thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I have so many friends to thank. Where do I start? Thank you to the Michigan disc golf community. This is where I was introduced to disc golf at a park called Earl Brewer. Every time I played, I was first time player, and I was 40 years later, here I am, still playing today. I was grateful to be able to play alongside such great players as Ron Russell, Scott Martin, David Feldberg, who became world famous, and soon with all Vegas. Kenny Climo, a couple of rounds, Steve Weisskopf, Mike Randolph, Barry Schultz, and many others. Kenny Gill, who became my traveling partner and good friend, Marie as well. Her and Amy Jo became great friends. His dad used to fly us to some tournaments, so thank you, Mr. Gill. Joe Gill and his wife Denise are amazing friends with a beautiful private course. The Gills are such beautiful people. Thanks to my brother Joe for always being there. We played our first game in 1979 together. The best times were when I played with Michigan players such as Al Sugarshack, Sue Stevens, Mark Ellis, Larry Levon, Damon Evans, Craig Pluger, Mark Lanning, Rick Harper, and so many more. My list could go on for days. I'm old, but thank you each and every one. You have all impacted my life. Some of my fondest memories were playing with Team Michigan at Sandy Point and Team Arizona at Morley Field. I'd also like to thank the late Drew Witt, who showed up one day to play, small, blonde, and skinny, like he could throw. He did, and we became best buddies. Rest in peace, my dear friend. I want to thank my family and friends who have always been there and supported me. My two boys, Dave and Ben, you grew up loving the sport, now you kick my butt. My daughter, Marissa, with our dollar shots, carrying my bag. I'm so thankful to have been able to play rounds with you all. You have cheered me on, carried my bag or my cooler. You know who you are. Larry Levon, who is such a big part of Michigan disc golf. Al Hoxma, Leonard Johnson, Mark LaFleur. Words of encouragement during tournaments for all. Michigan players, you were all so fun to compete with. Just nothing but gratitude to all of you. Thank you again. This is such an unexpected honor. I'm sure there are many who deserve this. I'm very proud to be honored as one of the Michigan Disc Golf Hall of Famers. However, I wouldn't be here without all of you. So to each and every one of you, thank you for making me a better player. There are so many awesome people I've had a chance to play with over the years. So to you, a huge thank you. Last, I would like to thank my wife, Amy Jo, for always believing in me, always walking and cheering me on. Many weekends were spent traveling to fun places. She always opens our house to any player who needs a place to stay. Thank you, Josephina. Love you. Much love. Jav, 3178. David Kowalski. We're pretty sure they
Congratulations.
So if we paid them more, would they improve the air conditioning?
I can't find the button, Mark, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I thought you were the tech guy. I'm told the tech guy just press the right buttons and everything works out.
I told the lawyer, like, moved it on.
Yeah. We did before. Okay, so for the first time ever, we have inducted a pair of worthy players, organizers, Hall of Famers, together in one vote. Now, we all know that that when Jim Kenner was voted in, his wife Gail McCall, two people that created and ran Discraft, should have been in together. We all know that when Gail Vaughn was put in, Damon Evans should have been brought in. Of course, they're a pair, right? But never before have we actually done it. And now we do. So I've never done it before, but I'm going to invite both Gunars and Steve Peck. We have chairs for you right up here. Okay, so at any point, you can jump up and object or, correct me if I mess up. Okay.
Hey, he
So
used
here
to
we
do that
go.
quite a bit back in the day, remember? He was a troublemaker.
Yeah, back then, right, sure. Okay, so together, Dr. Stephen Peck and Gunar Nollendorfs created and ran the Ann Arbor Club for 10 years, okay? They were early parts of what became the Michigan Disc Golf Organization that then created what exists today. And without the foundation that they built, we would be nowhere near where we're at, right? Larry LeBon hosted 8 here. We have 350 people here playing a tournament, right? I mean, imagine back in the day, that was impossible. But the only way you get there is to build it. And these guys built a cornerstone of Michigan Disc Golf. So, Michigan Disc Golf started with the four hot organized areas: Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Grand Rapids. And it has now expanded across the state, where it's fair to say that Michigan is one of the top places in the universe for disc golf in terms of courses, organizations, tournaments, players. I mean, the whole entire scene is phenomenal. And if you think about how many world championships, how many, special events are actually hosted here, how many majors are hosted, in Michigan through the years, it's because of work for guys like this. So, let's go back. Detroit, Gail Vaughn, David Evans, both in the hall. Lansing, Keith Aiton, Javier, Aaron Oakley, all in the hall. Aaron was, of course, a player, but also very much an organizer, especially in terms of women's disc golf. Grand Rapids, Al Hoxma. And we also have Al Shack, Sue Stevens, with strong connections to them. Al is more the organizer, Sue and Shack are more of the player. And already in the Hall of Fame, in the Ann Arbor area, Mike Rayleigh, great player, Pat Timmons, player, organizer, store owner, guy. But finally now, we have the heart, the real heart of the organization of Ann Arbor, of course, Gunar and Steve Peck. I want everyone to understand. These are highly dissimilar, if not lovely human beings, but it is amazing that they ever found each other at all. It is amazing that they ever worked together in the slightest. It is amazing that they were successful together. So how in the world did they find each other? How did this happen? Okay, so we have to start somewhere. We'll start with Steve Peck. Steve Peck, PDG number 5817, 45 events, 2 wins, 0 pro dash. Now, listen, he was a good player. Okay, he wasn't a world champion. I mean, most of us are never going to be a world champion, but he was a good player. He was a solid M1 player, but of course his calling was eventually the Ann Arbor Club and organizing and making it work. Now, it's an odd path he took to meeting Gunnar. Steve Peck grew up in Maine, and until he was 18 years of age, he was in Maine, and he played frisbee on the beach, but he didn't believe in team sports. You see, in team sports, you have to talk to other people. And that wasn't Steve's gig. Steve, socially reticent? Yeah, okay. Not untalented, but unwilling. out with, you know, a bunch of buddies and play sports? Oh, no. Oh, heck no. But he decided that he wanted to, you know, learn about psychology. That was his passion, his interest. He was an exceptionally smart kid. He was one of the, you know, the Brady kids, right, that we see in school and say, you know, why are they so smart, darn it? Well, so going from Maine, where'd he go? He went to California. Who do you know in California? Oh, nobody. Nobody at all. You know, I'll tell you the most went to California. Why? Because there was a program in California State Long Beach that he was interested in. So he goes there, and in 1985, he gets a bachelor's in psychology. But he then found, you know, weird psychology, things that interested him a lot. Okay, so while he's in California, he finds disc golf. Now the great thing about disc golf is you can go to El Dorado Park in California, and they got 4x4 posts. And you can throw frisbees around, and you don't have to talk to anybody. You can run the course. You throw the disc, you run, you just play through all these. You don't have to say hi to them, talk to them, nothing, right? And that's what Steve did. Good exercise, had fun, right? So where does he go after California? Well, of course, he went to Montana. Why? Because there are these two professors that ran a master's program that fascinated him in the weird experimental psychology he loved, okay? And so he goes and he gets a master's from the University of Montana. Of course he did. And he kept playing. And he played every day, and he'd run the course. And he mostly stick to himself. Not completely, but mostly. Okay, so where does he go next? Well, of course, University of Michigan. Who do you know there? Nobody. What do you know about it? You know nothing. But there were these two professors, and these were the really cutting edge in the weird psychology he wanted to study. So he goes to Michigan, knowing nobody. Okay? And that's where he got his doctorate from, of course. Of course he did. But once you show up in Ann Arbor, you don't know anybody. Might as well go play frisbee. And so where'd he go? He went to Rolling Hills in Ypsilanti. It was closed, he got an apartment close to it, and he played every day and he'd run the course. And who did he see there? Gunars. Gunars. Now, Gunars is like the opposite of Steve Peck. Okay? Gunars is gregarious, Gunars is friendly, Gunars will talk to somebody, you know, that he doesn't know. If you sat on a bus for 10 minutes with Gunars, by the 10-minute bus ride, you know his name, you're his friend, and you want to be with him the next day. Okay, that's just Gunars. People love Gunars. We love Gunars.
We love you, Steve. We love you, Steve.
We do love Steve, but just, you know, in a different way. So we'll get back to that. So that's where they met. So let's go to Gunars now. Gunar, oldest, Nolandorf, number 3254, 79 PDK events, 6 wins, $266 in pro cash, which, by the way, he doesn't remember any of that.
Good for him.
Oh, okay, see, it's coming back.
Pro master cash, it was not pro.
That's pro.
It was pro too, yeah.
Hey, listen, for us old guys, that's pro. Okay, Gunar, 62 years of age, has lived in Ypsilanti for the past 20 years. You know, he didn't grow up in Maine and then fly up to wild places. Oh no, he grew up in Ann Arbor, Huron High, went to Huron Community College. In high school, he played football, and he was a diver, springboard diver, good athlete. At 14 years of age, he started playing catch with a Wemo 65. He was good at it. He loved it. And at 14, he loved playing frisbee. But it wasn't until 29 years of age he found disc golf. Okay? And at 29, he started making up his own object courses, inventing his own game of frisbee golf, right? And a friend of his, who we want to mention, Dave Holbrook, hooked him into disc golf. And his first golf disc ever was a Discraft Phantom. And his first basket course, a real basket, not a post, not a tree you throw at, was Rolling Hills. And at Rolling Hills, who's there? Steve Peck. Now, they're both playing every day. Steve is running through the course. Gunar is pulling people into playing with him and teaching them the game. So, Gunar is like, hey, join the group. We only got 7 so far, right? Gunar, okay? Well, after a while, Steve couldn't ignore Gunar because he kept on, hey, dude, what are you doing? Hey, come over, And so eventually, Gunar sucks Steve in to being social and playing with somebody else. Now, the only problem, of course, is that Gunar's was good. And Steve was, a runner. And so Steve actually told me that, yeah, they played every day for months and months and months. And Gunar beat them every single time. Every single time they go out together, who wins? Gunar wins. Doesn't matter how far ahead Steve might be, eventually Gunar wins. No?
I don't think that's true.
Okay?
We gave him a couple.
Oh, a little charity here. Okay. So Gunar had big plans. Hey, I'd love for let's make a club. Let's run tournaments. Let's put in courses. Let's do this. We can be successful here. This is Ann Arbor. There's 1 million people. We got all these college kids. Let's make a club. And so Steve, being the technical, brilliant master, egghead that he is, said, well, how would we do this? How would we structure it? How would we want to do this to be most successful and most efficient? And could we sell frisbees and actually make money? And could we get like our own t-shirts and our own clubs and and let's run tournaments. Let's make this big. So here we have the Svengali, okay, the guy who pulls you in and makes you love him in the sport. And here we have the brilliant mastermind next door. And who is this? I don't know, but he's always there. He's really smart. He's always helping some. And every time he makes something, it works really good. So they were the perfect team together. And Ann Arbor quickly became exceptionally successful. It had huge following. It pulled in big crowds. The leagues were highly successful. And before you know it, Gunar is out designing new courses. Right? He designed major courses. All of the courses in Ann Arbor, basically, Hudson Mills, the campground we use for 2000 Worlds, what's it called?
Willow Metro Park.
Willow Metro Park, there we go. The
Brown Park.
Monster. Brown Park, sure. So Gunar wants to, make all of this work, get it big and make it fun. And Steve wants to make it perfect. Let's make this perfect. We're going to make a club. We need the right organization. We need the right rules. We need the right spelling of the club name. And they eventually invented the Ann Arbor Club, A3 Disc, Ann Arbor Area Disc-Induced Sports Club in 1991. So they had big ideas. They were movers and shakers in terms of the formation of the MDGO, and eventually, of course, they were the backbone of the 2000 Worlds. 2000 Worlds, the first time ever there was a World Championships that had amateurs and pros together at the same place, and divisional doubles for every division. Basically unheard of. It was actually a crazy idea, and I remember it so well because Jim Kenner came to me and said, "Hey, let's do a Worlds for everybody." I said, "Oh, this is crazy. This is a crazy idea." And so what did I do? I went to Steve Peck and said, "Steve, this is possible?" And he says, "I don't know. Let me think about this." And we actually had, at the time, the biggest event ever. We had 1,000 players. We paid out $100,000 in the various divisions. And at the time, that was unheard of stuff. Bringing 1,000 players in every single division, right? And it's unbelievable. So, without these two guys, Gunar's running one of the major courses, Steve Peck designing the entire system, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have happened, or it certainly could not have been successful. So, back to Gunar. All without his car. So organizer, through a great putter, he's a great course designer, and called the Ann Arbor courses the Ann Arbor anti-hyzers, because he actually designed courses with more pure righty hyzers, and I love him for that as a foreheader. And Steve, we found out, was actually a great guy. He wasn't always willing to reveal it. He never wanted to take credit for it. But damn, he was a nice guy and so damn effective. And so, what do I give to you? I give to you Dr. Stephen Peck and Gunar Nollendorfs.
Hall of Fame, well
I
deserved.
actually got something written in here. First off, I'd like to thank Discraft and all the people that being around Al and Elba, everybody that, really, I can't make it happen by myself. It takes people and the energy from people. Maybe I give out some energy, but it's what you guys that bring it into me. The whole disc golf community, and like I said, Discraft is obviously the big piece of the pie there. And over the years, like Mark said about making the MDGO and getting it all, getting the sport to grow. I want to thank Larry. That phone call was pretty wild. I'm like, Hall of Fame? What the hell is that? I didn't know what was going on at all. I didn't really haven't played in a little while, but it was really neat. Took a little while to sink in, and it's really hit me big time. And I want to thank you, so much for that. Got pounded with some pretty wild texts after that. Would you send an email out and tell everybody? It was really neat.
Yeah, where's your phone call?
Anybody remember meeting with Disc Golf Express?
Yes.
You can still click on it today. I'm an eBay store called discgolfexpress.com. Or Disc Golf Express, actually. But if you ever want to go, I've got some, I'm pretty light right now and stuff, but it's a place you can look for future discs from Michigan and beyond. Steve, yeah, it was wild. A lot of years, I really appreciate it. I like your story. I didn't really know all that stuff. But somehow we did it, And I think, but.
Thanks, you guys. I don't have a lot to say, just thank you very much. I do want to thank Gunar. It's awesome meeting him, and we did a good thing there. Mark, thank you. Thanks to the Hall of Fame committee, everyone who voted for us, appreciate it. All the other organizers who put in the time, Larry, a lot of these guys have seen, we met 30 years ago going to tournaments around the state, and it's just great to see you guys still out here playing and doing the deal, even though it's apparently 100 times easier now because it's all electronic. You don't even have to really do much work, Larry, is that true? I'm just saying, we were doing it all by hand, there was no cell phone, anything like that. And of course, the players. None of it would happen without all the players coming out. And, so just thanks to everyone. Keep up the great work, and look forward to seeing where it all goes from here.
Oh no, Mark's on the microphone again. We're at the 25-person limit.
And of course, as you know, pictures will be available.
After the show. After the show, which ends in 2 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, no. Hey, this is David Evans. He's nice. Correct.
Nice.
Anybody's
All
got
right.
props for Evans.
Very nice.
are down to our final new inductee for this year, and that is David Feldberg. Who came here with his wife and son from Georgia, just for the process of, gracing us with his presence and accepting this award. And as you would guess, because, I get paid by the word to talk, I could go for a long time on this one. But let's try to crystallize this. Dave Feldberg is one of the best players of all time. When you're talking about greatness, it's easy to recognize that it's so hard to define it. How do you define greatness, And especially, how do you compare great players to one another? Now, for example, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell. We can argue for a long darn time because they're so good. And basically, we can say, I'd love to be any one of them, right? Wouldn't you love to have that sort of talent? So if we're going to talk about one of the greatest players of all time, what we know is they're all awfully darn good. We all, love to have any small part of their talent set. But Dave Feldberg is not just a great frisbee golfer. He is a great frisbee golfer. He has wild and disparate skills, and we're going to talk about a little of this. But let's start with frisbee golf, okay? Because that's why we're here. That's why he's being recognized. Now you might ask yourself, how is it here in the 7th class of the Michigan Disc Hall of Fame that we're putting Dave Feldberg in this year? And how is it that Ron Russell got in last year? There's only been 2 Open World Champions with ties to Michigan. Ron Russell, who won it in '99, Dave Feldberg, who won it in Kalamazoo in 2008. Yeah. Well, it's because, of course, their connection to Michigan is such that they left us as amateurs, went on the road, became great, and then they never came back. They show up to the occasional tournament, take our money, take our trophy, shake the old guy's hands, but they live somewhere else. Take Mike Randolph, right? You leave us, as an amateur, you become great, you just don't come back. Well, that's fine, we forgive that and we still love that. But let me tell you, if Dave Feldberg grew up in Michigan and still lived here, he would have been in the Hall of Fame the first darn year because he is the most awarded disc golfer with a connection to Michigan in history. Okay, so we're talking greatness. You have to compare it to the absolute best of all time, right? You can't compare Dave Feldberg to some, good player. He's not a good player. He's a great player. So, what do we have? We have Peck, 10-time world champion, right? Open champion. Probably the most dominant athlete ever in a single sport. 12 world championships. I mean, tell me all the great athletes that can say that in any other sport, right? Paul McBeth, the young hot stud now, he's won 5 open titles. Hank Doss won 3. So, I mean, these are also all-time greats. And how do you possibly rank them? Pretty darn difficult to do. But let's talk about some highlights. Dave Feldberg won the Open World Championships in 2008. Dave Feldberg won Pro Masters World Championships in both 2018 and 2019. That, by the way, the last 2 years it was held, wasn't held in COVID last year. So he is the 2-time reigning world champion. Oh no, it gets wilder. Check this out. When you go to play the world championships, they have these side events. Okay? These side events. You don't have to compete, but you can. And so they have putting, mini golf, skill shot accuracy, and doubles. In 2019, Dave Feldberg won all of them. All of them. How could somebody be that good? You know, you ever throw a mini, right? I mean, that's such a weird skill. But Dave Feldberg is great at throwing stuff. So he has never actually lost a world doubles at Masters. He's won it 3 times in a row with Peck Brown twice and Johnny McRae once. So he might win it again. He's only 44, right? He's still a young kid in that division, and you know that we're afraid of him. Oh, yes, they are. So Dave Feldberg's won 7 majors: USDGC, European Open twice, Japan Open, Scandinavian Open, the Players' Cup. He has won 19 national tour wins. Wow. Oh, wow! This illustrates how good he is. Check this story out. We know that the hot young guy now is Paul Macbeth, right? Phenomenal athlete. Who knows, you know, what his ceiling is? Okay, but of course now Dave is no longer touring. Paul Macbeth, okay, prime of his career. So every time Dave Feldberg loses a spot to Paul Macbeth in any of these lists, most number of majors, most money won, Paul Macbeth texts and mentions it to him. Hey, dude, you know, are you getting old or what, right? You know?
He's not from Michigan.
Paul Macbeth is not from Michigan, but we claim Dave Feldberg.
Yes, we claim Dave.
Okay, so the big question of absolute greatness is, of course, comparing people at their prime. Now, as it turns out, Climo's prime was slightly before Dave Feldberg's prime, and Paul Macbeth's prime was slightly past Dave Feldberg's prime. Okay? So he's in the middle, and then, of course, along with a number of really great players. But in 2005, the PDGA decided they're going to do a world ranking. World ranking, okay? And they started in 2005 because it's never been done before. Now, we'll grant you, the world ranking coincided with the strength of Dave Feldberg's prime, okay? So for the next 11 years, they charted that, and then they did an analysis. Hey, we've got 11 years. Chuck Kennedy, the evil genius of the PDGA, did an analysis, and they compared all of the players in the world for the last 11 years. Who was number 1 during that time slot? Dave Feldberg. Good as second place. For 11 years, he was top 5 in the world. Twice he was 1, 3 times he was second, He was never worse than 5 in the world for 11 consecutive years. Yeah. Unbelievable. So just in case you're interested, it was Dave Feldberg then, during this time period, this 11 years, then Dave Doss, Ken Climo, Josh Anton, and Paul Macbeth. So there you go. Thanks for everybody else for coming. You know, these other guys who are, you know, pretty good. Okay. So it's fair to say, start. Dave Feldberg was born in Maryland, lived there until 9 years of age when he moved to Michigan. He grew up in Michigan. And he actually learned Frisbee playing catch with a Frisbee with his grandfather in Maryland. I like that for a young start, right? So he comes to Michigan and lived in Walled Lake until he went to college. And he actually had a sport, and he was really good at it. The sport was bowling. At 12 years of age, he had a 200 average. At 12 years of age. Okay? Shockingly, controlling optics is something in his skill set. And you know, he was nationally ranked, and he went to nationals and competed with everybody. But in college, he decided he didn't want to do that anymore because bowling wasn't adequately cool in college. It just wasn't cool enough, right? So he needed a new sport. So how did this happen? Here he is in Davenport College, Kalamazoo. He's He's got a bunch of buddies going to Western Michigan. So he goes to visit them at their frat house. And one day they hand him a barracuda. That is a frisbee. And they said, we're going to Colebrook. We're going to play frisbee golf. Now, Dave didn't know nothing about it, never heard of it before, whatever, but you know, hey, his buddies want to go there, fine, he goes there. So his buddies have been playing since high school at the Colebrook Leagues, run by Larry Lamont. They're pretty good. They're pretty damn good. So they tell Dave they want to bet. Okay. Now these are poor college kids. So they're betting 25 cents per skin. They fleeced Dave for 18 skins times 25. $4.50. And he remembers that number today. Okay? He remembers that number. And he didn't like it because he knows he was being scammed. He realizes that. Okay? These guys took him out and just took his money. So 2 weeks later, they go out again at Dave's suggestion. But in the meantime, Dave has visited the in-flight store. He's bought himself a couple of frisbees. And he's practiced every day. Now he takes them out. He wins money back. He didn't win it all back. He won $2, and he remembers this. He won $2 back from these guys that have been playing for years. Okay. Now that might tell you something about his skill set and its competitive nature. Okay. So.
And memory.
So, Dave starts playing the Colebrook League, and one day, a guy says, hey, the M Worlds is coming up real soon, you should go play. And so he says, well, how do I do that? What do I do? And so he shows up and he plays the M Worlds. He has 2 frisbees and a towel. He has 2 frisbees and 1 towel, and he goes to the Amateur World Championship. Now, he didn't win it, of course, right? Because, you know, he's brand new in the game, doesn't know, like, hardly nothing about nothing. But then he saw what was possible and said, whoa, this is for me. Because he was darn good at this game. So first time I met Dave Feldberg, going on a road trip, and my buddy Todd Branch, part of the Winnie crew, okay, for sure was part of that crew, and I was picking people up. We're going to some tournament somewhere, who knows what. And Todd says, we're picking up Dave Feldberg. I said, sure, absolutely. Who's this? He said, oh, it's a college kid. You know, he's got skills. I said, okay, cool. So I pick up Dave Feldberg in the parking lot. He looks like the abominable snowman. His hair is out to here, okay? His beard is huge. You can basically see little beady eyes. That's about it, right? That's all you can see of Dave Feldberg. And he had unlimited confidence. He's riding, you know, vehicle, all these pros, and he's talking like he's going to be the best person in the world. And I'm thinking, this is either the biggest blowhard in the world, or he's going to be good. And now we know the answer. Dave Feldberg. So we know that the way to become good is go on the road. In 1999, Dave Feldberg joined the Winnie crew, the famous Michigan Winnie crew, right? Yeah. Playing disc golf tournaments every weekend as an amateur, okay? And you know, he's with really impressive company. Todd Branch, Al Shack, initially, and of course, you know, the dog, Isaac. So the next year, all of them go out together, but Sue Stevens joins them with her dog, Storm. Right? Okay. And this year, Dave Feldberg starts playing Crow. And by happenstance, he's just practicing at some course somewhere, and Stevie Winkle comes up to him and gives him one little hint. And suddenly he's throwing better and farther than ever before, and he is now rocketing into greatness. So they toured for the next 3 years, you know, getting better and better and better every year. Now, the touring folks are amazing. These are people that are basically, you know, living hand to mouth, right? If you don't cash here, you can't buy gas to get you there next weekend. And that's the deal. Talk about a little pressure, right? You missed that putt. You can't buy gasoline. I'm not talking luxuries. I'm talking gasoline. So I said, Dave Feldberg, how many basements have you slept in? He said, 1,000. Because you can't buy hotel rooms. You know, if you're a poor guy on the tour, man, if someone lets you stay in their car, you know, whatever. Come on, it's not like, you know, I mean, you're basically homeless except for a van. And if you ever want to get really good at something, put that kind of pressure on yourself. Because shockingly, Al Shack and Sue Stevens and Dave Feldberg have all won little championships. And they added this guy from Ohio called Avery Jenkins. He toured with them for a few years, and he's won a world championship. So that's the way to get good. So in 2003, they briefly left the road and decided to go to Oregon and get a degree. How many college frisbee pros get degrees in the process? This is really a rare, not impossible, not impossible, my Randolph, but I mean, this is amazing sort of dedication, you know, a skill set, of course, right? Because if you're not good at college, it's impossible. And if you're really good at college, like Steve Peck, just go get a doctorate in whatever heck you want, right? Because you're good at that stuff. Well, Dave is good at a lot of things, including college, but check this out. So, he gets hired to run a college disc golf course. Okay, college course. And so he takes all these guys from the college that never played before and teaches them and creates a curriculum to do it. And then they decide, well, let's go play in the Nationals. And his team that had no experienced players before college won the national championship with Dave Feldberg as the coach, not throwing for them, but as a coach. Just amazing. So there's this really fancy private college in Oregon. They want to hire Dave to teach also. He just won a national championship. So Dave teaches Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at University of Oregon. So the college, the fancy college says, you can teach Tuesday and Thursday for us. He said, okay, yeah, if you have to do that, you know, sure. And so they're going to let him in, and they, you know, they're hiring him, and it's all good. And he talks to some high muck administrator and says, oh, well, Mr. Feldberg, you know, tell us about your undergraduate degree. And he does. And they say, well, tell us about your master's degree. He says, I don't have a master's. Oh, wow, our college is elite. You cannot teach at our college without a master's degree. Dave says, you're not going to find a whole lot of people more qualified than me to teach this class. I'm telling you. Dave Feldberg, okay? And the administrator says, well, I don't doubt that at all, but we have our standards here. Our standards are very, very high. And so what did they do? They gave him 3 days later an honorary master's.
Way to earn it, Dave.
Whoa, okay, you know, I mean, how many people have an honorary master's that, okay, wow, pretty wild, huh? Pretty wild stuff. So, I love that story, by the way. So, Dave basically, you know, leads the tour a few years ago because, you know, I mean, what, you want to tour every day for all of your life? Especially when you're married, your wife Cynthia, you got the young stud boy, 2-year-old Leo Max, you know, here with us, right? You can't live in a van with a family easily.
A fancy motorhome.
Okay, yeah, okay. So at any rate, so what does Dave decide to do? Well, he and Cynthia together design, invent, create the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour. What is that? It's a series of tournaments, all run under the auspices of the Feldbergs. So, 5 years ago they started it. It is now the biggest tour in the world. Check these numbers out. This year, they have 234 tournaments. Wow. 234.
I thought it said
And
45.
check out the finals. If you're good enough at the earlier events, you qualify for the finals. The finals this year, they are estimating their payout will be $800,000. Unbelievable. So it's obvious that if you're smart enough and motivated enough and ingenious enough, you can take your hobby, turn it into a world, class athletic career, and then turn it into a business. And so, David and Cynthia run that's their business. So I would like to invite to the Michigan Hall of Fame in 2021, Dave Feldberg, 563 events, 118 wins, $417,833.08 in pro cash. I offer you David Feldberg.
So, before I get anything, I just want to say congratulations to the class that I've been with. I wanted to mention Hob. I talked to him on the phone. If any of you don't know, is that when I first went to NDGO, Hob was the man. All you saw was the bandana, you saw some sweat, and you saw some putts going in, and he was unbeatable. He dominated Ron Russell, all these guys. It was great. And then when I moved to Arizona, we reconnected, and that's where he was on Team Arizona before they invited him to be on my team. So, we love Hob. And these two gentlemen right here, Gunar and Peck, AQ, that was the club I played and went to, and these guys ran it, and without them, I wouldn't be here today, because tournaments like that, DGO, no fooling, without Haxman and these guys, without that, I don't exist. So I just want to say thank you, gentlemen. It's an honor. One thing that I wanted to say is, in 1997, when I ran into Larry LeBon, you would think I'd be the last person to ever see him. I was terrible. I was almost the joke of the course. I threw the disc, I was way up here in the air, I wore cleats with metal spikes on the concrete tee pads. People would laugh, you would hear click, 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 yeah, click, 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 click. I was that guy, and so I had really no chance. But like you said, I went on the tour, and a lot of people taught me, and I guess I learned. So, I just wanted to say, for the speech, that there was a lot of people that made a difference in my career. A lot of people. And starting in the beginning, it was Larry LeBon, Scott Wilson, and Pat Hawks. The guys that he talks about that came up to me and sent me to the Worlds with 2 discs, and where I got my dog and disc player pack disc that I still use my putter today, still in my bag today. That was Pat Hawks. He didn't say, "Hey, you want to play in the Worlds?" He goes, "Give me $75." I go, $75. He's like, "Just give me $75 today." So I gave him $75. He goes, "Go to this course on this date." Sent me to Johnson Park, and I showed up, and that's basically how it happened, playing in the sand. So, and he didn't tell you, I did finish 200 out of 210. I was almost dead last. I was doing 360s on 300-foot holes to try to reach them, because I didn't understand. I saw the top guys do it. I thought it was cool, but obviously I wasn't very good. But after that, it was, my luck that I ran into Todd Branch. And the real truth is he didn't go looking for me. He didn't care, hey, let's find Dave Feldberg. I was at the Cracked Plastic Open, playing in my very first winter tournament, and I was putting my own business, and a disc hit me in the ear. When you play in 10 degrees and you get hit in the ear, whoa, that hurts, right? So I didn't know any disc golfers. I didn't care who Todd Branch was. I was like, who hit me? Right now. And he's like, hi, I'm Todd Branch, I'm on tour. He introduced himself, and I said, oh, okay, nice to meet you guys. He's like, why don't we play a practice round? He felt really bad, so we played together, and then we realized that we both lived in Gull Lake. And he came up to me and he said, would you ever go on tour with us? Could you drop out of college? I was going to computer programming school. I said, maybe, So he calls me and says, bring some of your amateur buddies up to Kentucky to be Al's partner, Darren Harper, who was the original Winnie crew, and myself to play. And I did. I brought my friends up there. Me and Todd lost to Dave Greenwell, his partner. He got second. And when I went to his RV to say thanks, we're leaving, he said, can you join the tour now? I said, join the tour? He's like, Darren Harper can't hang. Darren Harper needs his mom's cooking, he's got special needs, I said, oh, okay. He goes, if you can make it to Kansas City wide open, you can tour with us. And so I was excited. I went home, got my stuff, and took a bus to Kansas City. And they put me in a luggage rack. I didn't get a bed. They put me in, Sue knows, I was in a luggage rack that was only this far from the ceiling. And when I woke up every day, I went, boom, in my head. Because it was literally that far from my head, but it was a place. When he says playing for gas, I mean, we were literally playing for food, 99-cent sandwiches just to get by. We had to write checks to the TDs for our entry fees on Friday, and then you knew they couldn't cash them, right? And show up on Sunday at the ceremony and say, okay, we wrote you a check for 400, we want 800. Just give us 4. Give us a check. Right? So that's basically how we got by.
That's how the tour impressed.
And a lot of people like Mark and others gave us little assistances, like Turco and stuff, and gave us little assistances to make us on the tour with their little helps and sponsorships and things like that, and made it happen. So thank you to everybody. And I just wanted to say that it's wonderful to come from this community. You know, playing in the MDGO, and most of you probably didn't know me back then, but I was whipped every year. I went to the AM3 state championship, and Eric Farber went. You guys know who that is. I went to the AM2 state championships, and Lee Rossenbach whooped me. And then I went to the AM1 state championships with Scott Ruffy. Right, so I never won. Right, they all whipped me, and I had to get out of the state to get good because they all whipped me. Right, so I didn't have it, but I was excited to come from such a great community, and I took that spirit with me out on the road, and that's why I was able to get where I was. Michigan has a special spirit in disc golf that I've never seen anywhere else, and it's really genuine. And I tell my wife, I think it's because they're trapped all winter, and when they come out, they've been really excited to be there. So I can name off hundreds of names, but I leave a lot of people out. I don't think that's fair. Everybody that came across from Michigan made it happen for me, and without them I wouldn't be there. But in general, my life changed one day. It was a disc golfer. Sure, I got that degree, but I didn't do anything with it. Right, I got all these degrees. I thought, oh, maybe I'll do something, but I didn't. And I was still trying to be good at disc golf. I was like, I'll be Paul Macbeth for the rest of my life. But that wasn't true because he was just coming up and I was getting old, right? Well, one day I woke up and I said, honey, I can't move. Can't move, what's going on? She's like, uh-oh. You go there, you do these MRIs, you say, oh, sir, how are you walking? You have discs slipped and they're sticking in your spine. You'll probably not be able to walk soon. I was like, what? So then I wait for the surgery and stuff like I'm out to eat with her and go drink a glass. Just throw it across at somebody. Like, oh, sorry, it just wouldn't work. I lay on the ground, couldn't move. It was crazy. And so I got surgery. They put me in, they cut my neck open, I got the Peyton Manning surgery, took out the disc, they put in calories and stuff like that, right? And I was like, well, I guess I'm done. What am I gonna do? You know, I can't play anymore. I'll never be the same, right? You know, I might get to be a master's title, but I'll never be Paul Macbeth like I used to be able to. And she said, well, you're really good at running tournaments. Why don't you run some tournaments? I said, okay. So we started running tournaments and doing it for charity because she went to school with health wellness, and that was, you know, what it was back. So we did food banks and blanket shelters. We did it with Javier Kowalski at his course that he designed in Arizona. He gave us the right to his course. And we did all this, you know, stuff. And she's like, why don't you start your own series? And I'm like, okay. So we started this weird series called the Next Generation Tour. We had 12 events in the United States, and we sent a winner, amateur guy, to Europe for 30 days with his girlfriend. They got to play the Euro Tour professionally. For 30 days, all expense paid trip. We're like, that's pretty cool. And then this guy comes up that all of you know, Peck. He was like part of the 2000 world staff, right? And he comes up and he says, what you guys is doing, you and Cynthia is really cool. You guys should take it national. We're like, what? He's like, 154 events. We're like, 154? We did 12, we're dying. You know, he's like, no, you get people to do it for you. He kind of laid some framework, and we worked really hard, and we didn't do very well. We got to the point where Cynthia and I almost lost our house. We didn't have any money. All of our cards were maxed out, and that was about end of 2018. And we were in a really bad place. And so we asked Pat to step inside, and he agreed, and we decided that we should take it on completely ourselves. I won't dabble and try to play anymore. We'll just do this full time, 50, 60 hours a week, whatever it takes. We adjusted the way it worked. We changed the name to the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour. And wow, as you can tell, we got lucky, and it is the most popular tour with the most sponsors, the most money. We got lucky. So it wasn't for this wonderful lady, I would still be some guy at the course trying to hustle people for $10 every shot. So thank you.
You're doing great.
And then, the last thing I'll say is that then, you're a professional disc golfer and you're on the road. What's one thing you're not gonna have? A child, right? And so, I thought, probably never, you know? And then, she made it. And that boy is special. And so, I want to thank you again. And hi, Leo. And I want to thank all of you. I didn't want to get teared up, but you guys make me very happy. Everybody that came to this ceremony, I have a connection with all of you. I'll always have a connection until I'm old and gray. I can live as long as the gentleman that laid the tracks before me. I appreciate it. And my final thanks goes to Larry LeBon. Because without Larry LeBon, I wouldn't have played. I wouldn't have had a world title. I couldn't win. He was right. I was ranked the highest ever, but I went to every world championships and choked. Oh, he's winning fourth, he's winning third, he's winning fifth. I got fifth 9 times, fifth place, right? I couldn't win the tournament. He calls me up on the phone and he goes, "You ready to be a world champion?" I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I bid for Kalamazoo so you could be a world champion." And I was like, "What?" And when I got here, not only did he do this, he told the press, Dave Feldberg's going to win the world and stuff like that. I'm like, "We're number one." I get here, I walk to the gas station, there's a newspaper, I'm in the front of the newspaper, in the heading of the newspaper, putting through the Kalamazoo, it says, "Feldberg comes to win world title."
Whoa!
No pressure, you know?
I remember where you stayed.
Yep, I stayed with Kevin, and these guys took care of me, and so I just gotta say that, you know, there's a lot of people, the Al Shacks, Steve Stevens, Todd Branch, Durko, Randolph, you know, they all took care of me, Roman, you know, everybody took care of me in this community. But this gentleman put me where I am here, and that's why I'm gonna leave and say thank you.
Woo!
Okay, so for all of you folks that are live streaming with us, thank you for joining us. We are now at the conclusion of the induction ceremony for the 2021 Michigan Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Thank you to our inductees. Thank you to our viewers. How about that?